Maybe start thinking about your notes a bit differently. Not just as passive records, collecting digital dust somewhere, but more like the raw material for building an intelligent brain,
Yeah.
something that organizes and can actively debate your core ideas.
Yeah, exactly. We're talking about Google's NotebookLM here, and it's really not just another AI chat thing. Well, it's basically like a free, personalized chief of staff, a highly specialized expert built entirely on your documents, your information.
Welcome to this deep dive, everyone. Our mission today is pretty simple. We want to move past just the basic features and look at strategic applications. We want to show you how this tool can take all that scattered data and turn it into something genuinely strategic, assets that actually compound over time.
Right. So maybe a quick definition first, just for clarity. NotebookLM, it's an AI tool, completely free, and it links directly to your Google Drive. What it does is create a searchable, synthesized knowledge base, but only from the documents you specifically feed it. It's kind of like stacking Lego blocks of data, right?
Right.
And then you get to ask the tower questions.
Yeah. Exactly. Good analogy. So we're going to unpack 5 key workflows today. We'll explore creating that instant searchable brain you mentioned, then mastering skills rapidly using a particular learning framework, also how to build professional proposals that have real authority, and even practice pitches against a surprisingly tough AI adversary.
Yeah, it can be pretty brutal. And then we finish with what we're calling the meta strategy. Kind of the ultimate payoff, really. How this whole approach compounds your intelligence into something permanent and scalable, a real asset.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dig into this with our first foundational workflow, which is basically transforming all that digital chaos, your entire history of notes, maybe into a single searchable AI brain.
Right. This is probably the most intuitive use case, but you could argue it's the most powerful one to start with. NotebookLM can tap directly into your Google Drive, making, every PDF, every old document, every file instantly searchable and analyzable by the AI.
And the benefit here isn't just like speed, is it? It feels more like intellectual leverage. You move from manually digging through dozens of documents to just instantly querying your whole collection. I mean, imagine never having to remember which folder that key insight from 3 years ago is actually in.
Exactly. The process itself is simple, but the query you use, that needs to be precise. So you connect your drive, then you start querying it. Use specific requests like find all resources related to Q4 Project 2025's budget and technical requirements. NotebookLM discovers those files, imports them. Then it's ask and learn time. You query targeted questions across only the content you've imported.
I really like the real-world impact of this. We were testing this, right? And we imported this huge collection of niche ebooks on customer research. And NotebookLM just instantly pulled together the single best collection of high-impact research prompts across documents that spanned, 5 years.
Yeah, and here's where it gets really interesting, I think. It's the tool's ability to visualize. It can actually generate mind maps that show connections, relationships between scattered resources that you probably wouldn't see otherwise. That's pure insight generation.
Okay, but we need a specific example there. Let's say you've got 30 documents, meeting notes, research papers, old pitches, whatever. The AI maps the topics, and it shows you visually that, hey, Project A from 2021, it actually used the exact same core market analysis as Project B, which you just launched last month. And suddenly you realize you've been unintentionally repeating research efforts, wasting time.
That kind of accidental overlap, it's almost impossible to spot manually, right? NotebookLM kind of forces that realization. Oh, and a pro tip here, too. Use consistent naming conventions in your files. Makes a huge difference. That dramatically increases the power and accuracy of those initial discovery queries.
But hang on, what if I feed it decades of notes? They're poorly structured, inconsistent, maybe even conflicting. Doesn't the classic garbage in, garbage out rule apply here?
Yep.
How does NotebookLM handle those internal inconsistencies?
That's a great question, really healthy skepticism. And that's exactly where the power of how you structure the query comes in. You have to be specific. You'd ask something like, synthesize the 3 conflicting approaches to budgeting mentioned across the 2022 and 2023 Q3 reports. It forces the AI to be more like a detective, a comparator, not just, a simple summarizer.
Okay, so this system moves us beyond just simple searching. It's more towards genuine synthesized insight generation.
Precisely.
Yeah. It's a huge step forward.
Yeah.
But let's talk about using this for something maybe fundamentally different. Accelerated learning. Which brings us to workflow 2. Mastering any skill at lightning speed.
Accelerated learning is definitely the goal here. What we're doing is combining NotebookLM's research power with Tim Ferriss's methods, his proven methods for rapid skill acquisition. You're essentially using the AI's guidance to rapidly deconstruct a really complex skill.
And the core of this, as I understand it, is a specific prompt structure inspired by Ferriss. It basically guides the AI to do the deconstruction for you, right? Which eliminates that huge amount of effort you usually spend just figuring out what to learn first.
That structure is absolutely vital. First, you tell the AI, break the skill down into the smallest, most essential learnable units. Then, apply the 80-20 rule. Identify only the 20% most essential units, the real core stuff. Next, organize those blocks. Put them into a logical, learnable sequence, step by step.
Okay, but that final step you mentioned, condensing and encoding the core material using memorable acronyms or metaphors, that feels really critical. Why is that encoding part so important?
Encoding is basically memory glue. It just works. The AI takes complex, maybe dry material and turns it into something mnemonic, something sticky, memorable. For example, when we tested this out for learning Adobe Premiere Pro, the results were pretty much immediate.
Right. The NotebookLM generated this structured, efficient workflow. The OACE workflow, I think it was called. Took about 10 minutes. OACE standing for Organize, Assemble, Calibrate, and Export.
Exactly. And here's the strategic part. Instead of trying to learn, 50 different tools inside Premiere, the AI analyzed best practices. And it focused the user on mastering only the 2 primary color correction sliders and 1 specific trim tool. It really focuses your learning on that core 20%. It just strips away all the wasted effort.
So what would you say is the biggest difference, the biggest time saver compared to traditional learning methods?
Well, it eliminates that wasted effort by instantly identifying and sequencing the material that genuinely matters, cuts through the noise.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to workflow 3 then. Instantly adding authority to any argument, any proposal. Because let's face it, an opinion is just an opinion until it's backed by solid data, right?
Absolutely. This is pure leverage, especially for anyone who presents to executives or clients, stakeholders. It transforms a basic idea, maybe just a hunch, into a real evidence-backed proposal, something that commands respect. And honestly, it saves hours of manual searching for citations and stats.
So the authority building process, it leverages NotebookLM's ability to really dig for credibility. You start by asking it to find things like peer-reviewed studies, industry reports, and expert opinions from the last 2 years on your specific topic.
You then import those relevant sources it finds. But here's the key step, evaluation. You ask the AI something pointed, like, which of these sources are most likely to impress a skeptical finance team, or whoever your audience is? That really focuses the extraction. You get quotable statistics, hard findings, not just, random facts floating around.
The impact seems pretty clear. Instead of walking into a meeting and saying, I feel we should invest in gold, which sounds weak, right? You can say something like, recent Federal Reserve data, which is supported by 2 Q3 industry reports, indicates that gold serves as a critical hedge against X, Y, and Z. The whole conversation instantly changes tone.
It totally shifts the discussion. From if you should do it to how you're going to implement the plan, it turns a suggestion into a potential project. Right there.
Okay, but what if, and I'm playing devil's advocate here, what if I've preloaded a bunch of reports that naturally support my existing bias? Isn't there a risk the AI just feeds me confirmation bias? How do I make sure I'm finding counterpoints too?
That's excellent skepticism again. And you absolutely need to build that critique into the process itself. The authority process should always include a step like this. Identify the 3 most compelling counterarguments found in these sources and provide the statistical evidence supporting them. This way, you build your defense before the attack even comes. You're prepared.
Got it. So structuring the evidence with the AI, including the counter-arguments, allows you to proactively mitigate those potential objections.
It builds a much more robust defense. Yes, mid-roll sponsor, read placeholder.
All right, now for workflow 4, the ultimate pitch practice partner. This sounds interesting. This is where you move beyond just, rehearsing in front of a mirror and start creating realistic, even adversarial pitch scenarios using AI hosts.
Oh, this is absolutely essential preparation. I have to admit, I still wrestle with anticipating those spontaneous, really tough objections sometimes. The ones that just stop you cold in a meeting, 2-sec silence. Getting feedback on those blind spots is pure learning gold when you manage it. But usually, left to my own devices, I'm just prepping for the easy questions, the obvious ones. This forces you to confront the hard stuff.
So this setup is really designed for brutal honesty then. The workflow starts by loading your pitch deck, your notes, your core data,
Yeah.
and then you essentially demand brutality from the AI. Is that right?
Yeah, you need to define the opponent clearly. You prompt the AI with something like, act as a Series A investor. You have a 20% bias against consumer tech, and you focus heavily on short-term EBITDA. Now, raise the 3 toughest financial and logistical objections to this pitch. Be brutal. You have to tell it to be tough.
Okay, so you've defined the opponent, the specific hostility, the potential biases. Then NotebookLM generates that set of objections, and also your best counter-arguments, all grounded in the data you fed it earlier.
Exactly. And the output, that's the truly strategic part here. You can generate an audio overview in a debate format where one AI voice tries to sell and the other AI voice raises those precise, brutal objections that you, the user, have to overcome dynamically. You listen to it.
The benefit seems really clear. You're getting expert-level feedback, essentially, and experiencing realistic sales conversations. It's like combining a sales coach and a devil's advocate into one incredibly rigorous training tool.
Yeah, because pitching is dynamic, isn't it? It's not just the words. You need to practice your cadence, your pause, your tone, especially when you get ambushed by a question designed to throw you off balance. Hearing the objection, even from an AI, forces an emotional and verbal response that just reading a script, well, it simply cannot replicate.
So hearing those objections allows for that practice of the dynamic, real-time emotional response under pressure.
It really helps build presentation muscle memory.
Yeah. Okay, we've discussed these specific workflows, these hacks, really. But the real power, you suggested earlier, lies in the meta strategy. The idea that NotebookLM isn't just a tool, it's more like a platform for creating permanent, specialized AI assistants.
That really is the fundamental shift, I think. And you need to consider the compound effect here. Think about the old way, right? Going to a general AI chatbot, having to re-explain all your context, upload files again for every single session, dealing with temporary memory. It was always temporary. It never built on itself.
Right, that time felt disposable. But now, that time is an investment. The new way, using NotebookLM, it's different. Each notebook you create is like a permanent, focused brain. It's an asset that actually grows more valuable over time because the context, the documents, they're stored permanently. Right there in that specific intelligence framework.
You are literally building an army of experts. Think about it. One notebook is your marketing specialist. It understands your specific branding voice because you fed it all your style guides, all your past campaigns. Another one is your financial analyst. It knows GAAP rules cold because you fed it, say, 10 years of audit reports. Each one becomes a world-class specialist with deep, specific domain knowledge, tailored to you.
Whoa. Okay, that's a blueprint to scale your personal analysis capability.
Yeah.
Your expertise consistently across multiple domains. Imagine scaling your personal intelligence like that exponentially.
Yeah.
That's quite something.
It's all about leverage, isn't it? The future isn't really about working harder. It's about building these intelligent systems that make you exponentially more capable based on the knowledge you already possess, but maybe couldn't easily access or synthesize before.
So the practical advice then, the next step for someone listening, start today. Pick the use case that solves your biggest current problem. Are you drowning in research? Try the Drive integration first. Need to structure learning a new software. Build a mastery notebook for it. Need more authority in your proposals. Focus there.
Exactly. And the beautiful thing is, each notebook you create, it becomes an intelligent compounding asset. It increases your expertise every single time you use it and add to it.
Okay, before we wrap up, here's one final thought for you, the listener, to maybe chew on a bit. What knowledge arbitrage opportunities might exist if you use NotebookLM to analyze a completely unrelated industry, say logistics or supply chain management, and then adapted its core strategic processes to your own field, like maybe creative writing or digital marketing? Could that work?
Ooh, that's a fascinating cross-domain question. Think about the unique insights that only your specialized AI army, trained on diverse fields, could potentially uncover. Interesting.
Definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
Start building your own permanent intelligence systems today. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.